I am Kimberly Bonati alongside Ethan Euchre, Jeff Wagstaff, and world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati. Now, a new book details the conspiracy theory pushed by political operatives, intelligence officials, and the press back in 2015 that Donald Trump was a Russian asset, and they spied on his campaign and subsequent presidency in order to undo the election. Joining us now is Lee Smith, author of The Permanent Coup: How Enemies, Foreign and Domestic, Targeted the American President. Thank you for joining us, Lee.
Thank you very much for inviting me on. I appreciate it. It's nice to speak with you and your listeners.
Yes, thank you, Lee. So as a veteran investigative journalist, what made you want to write about the Trump campaign of 2015?
It's actually what the Trump campaign is about and what they're wrestling with. I mean, really the heart of the book are the different operations that have been used to target the administration, starting with the phony collusion conspiracy theory through the special counsel investigation leading into Ukraine Gate and the bogus impeachment process, weaponizing the coronavirus, now the raising and looting of U.S. cities, which has finally devolved into what we're seeing now with the nonsensical mailbox conspiracy. I mean, that's really the heart of the book, the series of different things that have been used to disrupt and disorient the the U.S. government.
Where do you think their absolute hatred stems from, though? Because before President Trump ran for president, they loved him, they embraced him, and he spoke. He spoke in front of the Senate and the House quite a few times.
That's right. And of course, he was known as a number of things. I mean, a builder, a man about town, a page 6 personality. So where did this hatred come from? That's one of the subjects of the book.
I have a real problem with everything that's going on right now on this discussion. Everybody knows what happened. Everybody knows who is responsible. Everybody knows what they need to do. But I don't see anything on the media, and I don't think anything in the journalism to really have an outraged behavior once for all to bring to the law these individuals that they create a coup on a presidency of the United States.
You know, the Attorney General has appointed prosecutors to look into this, and this is one of the things that's happening. You and your listeners may have been following when FBI lawyer Kevin Kleinsmith pled guilty to making false statements. So, I mean, there are illegal activities right now. There are people who are investigating and looking into the different things that happen.
What we have a horrible Attorney General in the beginning of this presidency, and because of him, Trump pay back a tremendous amount of pain that endured for 4 years. You need to have an attorney general that is responsible.
I agree with you that attorney general did not do his job. I'll just say that I think it's a little broader than that. There were more people who were causing trouble. There were people, at the FBI still, some people still at the Department of Justice, and in other bureaucracies here across Washington. So I agree with you, but the problem is larger.
But the attorney bar is right now in a situation that can bring the law and bring these people to the law. And instead to do that, he keeps fooling around with the system and going around with more investigations and no action.
When we're talking about places like the Department of Justice and the FBI and the State Department, the levers are controlled by the left. So it's not like anyone is going to turn these instruments against a Democratic Party president.
The problem here is everybody who is on the right side is so careful and so respectful that they always end with a failure. We have a failure right now on the Department of Justice.
The Attorney General is very serious about the work that he's doing. Whether that's going to be enough to stop what I describe in the book as the permanent coup, that's another question. But I do believe that the Attorney General is working extremely hard to get people. I mean, look, it's a very big case. There are a lot of people. This is a very large conspiracy case. We're not just talking about one lawyer at the FBI or a couple of agents. We're talking about people across Washington. We know there are at least a few foreign actors who are involved. Whether they will be charged is a different question. I appreciate what you're saying, and I agree. I'd like to see a much speedier resolution, but this is a very large and sprawling case.
Well, I think it's big because we allow it. If you have the opportunity to have the right to clean the people who is in those positions by just firing them, then why is not being done? Because if you continue maintaining that personnel there, then you have this problem. But if you remove the people there, you put the right people there, and that is the right of the presidency or the general attorney. If you do that, you clean the garbage and start to pick people who is going to create responsibility. Right now, we have the same people acting. We will have another 4 years of the same garbage.
I mean, that's certainly a big concern. If that happens again for another 4 years, that's certainly a very big concern, no doubt about it. That's why this particular case right now, that's why it's very important they make a very solid case.
We know that Obama, that Comey, the FBI, the Department of Justice, the State Department, the tentacles of the Obama administration were all involved in this effort to spy on the Trump administration. I'm curious specifically what you've uncovered that may not have been reported to support that.
I point to the centrality of the former CIA director, John Brennan. That's right in Chapter 2, a chapter called The Director, so that's up front. We've been talking about the role that the FBI has played for so long, but it's very important to look at former CIA Director John Brennan. And you correctly note the role of the 44th president and his vice president, who's now the Democratic nominee for president. But remember that John Brennan was coming out of the Oval Office. So I think what's important about that, I mean, I assemble more evidence pointing to the fact that this goes to the very top of the previous White House.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Lee Smith, author of The Permanent Coup, How Enemies, Foreign and Domestic, Targeted the American President. Thank you for being on the program.
Thanks, Lee. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for joining us on American Medicine Today. Make sure you check us out again next week.